Hitway is a popular Chinese brand that sells a range of budget e-bikes, and here I have what could be an ideal all-rounder, the BK15 Plus. Being one of my first attempts at trying an e-bike, I wanted something that didn't break the bank, but it was enough to get me comfortably around on my local travels, and the BK15 Plus seems to fit the bill with a decent specification for the money. A 29-inch mountain bike style frame with lights, mud guards, and a 250 watt motor with a respectable 748 watt hour of battery power, providing a manufacturer stated range of between 50 to 98 miles. Removing the unit from its box, you'll even receive a bunch of extra accessories to complete the package. Alongside the portable battery charger, I found a bicycle pump, a bike lock, and some tools, handy to keep with your kit as well as help assemble the bike itself. Talking of assembly, it's a pretty straightforward and standard procedure. Once you have all the packaging removed from the unit, and there is a fair bit of it to fully protect throughout shipping, loosen the bolts to rotate the handlebar stalk so it points in the front-facing direction before tightening back down. I'm using my own tools here, but you can of course use the tools supplied. After which we can remove the 4 bolts securing the front plate, so that the handlebar can rest in between, before tightening the same plate and 4 bolts back down to secure the handlebar in place, taking care to work around the cables of course. With that done, we move further down, removing a single bolt on the front fork, in order to capture the front mudguard as well as the front light on the opposite side. This can be a little fiddly capturing everything in place while tightening, but with some patience it's a pretty straightforward procedure. Further down then we can get the front wheel installed next, starting with removing the shipping pin from the bottom of the fork, as well as any protective covers from the front wheel. Drop the fork down onto the wheel, ensuring the brake pads sit on either side of the disc, followed by inserting a quick release pin, complete with spring and washer on either side, through the fork and the wheel. Notice how the metal washer has a bend at one end. Care must be taken to ensure this slots into and locks into the frame on both sides, before hand tightening the bolt, enough to securely lock using the lever on the opposite side. And with that, front wheel installed. Check to ensure it's free moving. Pedals next, nothing out of the ordinary here. Match up the correct pedal to the correct side, both will be marked, and hand tighten the bolt into the pedal arm, before using a wrench to tighten down into position, and repeating the same on the opposite side. Okay, time to get the seat into place next. Release the locking latch, and loosen the opposite bolt just a few turns, before sliding the seat post down into the vacant hole, and hand tightening the bolt, before flipping the locking lever. Seat height will be adjusted later. This provides space to get the rear mudguard in place for now. Another simple install thanks to the locking clamp that can be released by removing the 2 thumb screws, wrapping around the seat post we just installed, before reinserting and retightening down the 2 bolts previously removed. You only need to hand tighten these, no need to crank down too tight, as the rubber strap inside will keep the part in place quite well, after which we can adjust the height of the mudguard as required. Now you'll also receive a manual rear light, although as I'm quite short and need the post down, I'll need to skip this for now. Maybe a 3D printed extension of some sort will help, a future project nonetheless. Anyways, that's pretty much it. A pretty standard bicycle assembly to be fair. All that's left is to slide the battery down into position, and lock with the included key, after which the system can be powered to ensure all is working as expected. Assembly complete, and you're ready to ride. So what we have here is a pretty standard looking bicycle, nothing that stands out enough to draw unwanted attention. Available in a grey frame as well as the black I have here, it's a rather sleek and smart design, constructed almost entirely of aluminum alloy, helping to maintain strength yet keep the structure as light as possible. Well, as light as you can get with a motor and large battery on board at least. Talking of the motor then, a compact unit built into the centre of the rear wheel here is a powerful 48 volt brushless system equipped with 250 watts power, delivering 70 Newton meters of torque, That's enough to ensure the Hitway BK15 Plus easily handles slopes up to 25 degrees. It's a smooth, quiet and efficient system with not only strong climbing power, but more importantly, reliable performance for daily commuting and off-road riding. This is backed by a long-range 48-volt battery. Thanks to its high 748 watt-hour capacity, it has a manufacturer range of between 80 to 150 kilometers per charge, depending upon the terrain, riding mode and how hard it's worked. It's a big lump and adds a fair bit of weight, but is key locked into place. You'll receive 2 keys in the package, and when unlocked it slides up and away from the frame so that it can be charged separately from the bicycle itself, which is very convenient. Once topped up, slide it back down, and lock securely into position. Nice and easy. This is IP54 waterproof too, so riding through the odd patch of rain won't faze it. Operating both battery and motor is done via the control module conveniently located up on the handlebar, which is nice and easy to get to without having to remove your hand from the hand grip, and you'll receive visual feedback from the LCD display, including speed, current mode, battery life remaining, and so on. All handy stuff to see at a glance, and it's all quite bright and easy to read too. From here we can cycle through the 3 different speed settings, all assisting through various intensities to get you to a maximum of 15.5 miles per hour, the legal limit here in the UK. While keeping things very basic and easy to use, it also incorporates NFC unlocking, adding a layer of security to the system. All in all, the main electronics control setup of the bike seems perfectly sound. There are a few added features to note too though. On the opposite handlebar we have the main gear control, a 7-speed Shimano gear system, helping to effortlessly adapt to different terrains with smooth, precise gear changes. And whether you're riding in wet or dry conditions, smooth or rugged terrain, we find mechanical disc brakes front and rear for consistent and powerful stopping performance. These are mounted on large 29-inch wheels, complete with puncture-resistant tyres. These help to provide excellent grip and stability, whether commuting in the city or exploring country trails, making for a reliable, worry-free, yet comfortable riding experience. Talking of comfort, alongside the nice plush seat, we have a dual front and rear suspension system. These are comprised of a lockable front fork coupled with a central shock absorber. Both work in tandem to effectively reduce bumps and vibration on rough roads, ensuring you enjoy smooth, stable and comfortable rides across all kinds of terrain. So whether it's urban streets, country paths or uneven terrain, this suspension system works to offer both comfort and stability. And to help keep things clean on those rougher terrains, we have front and rear mudguards, with the rear being height adjustable as well as incorporating some added width to make sure both you and your bike are kept as clean as possible through wet or muddy conditions. Finally, while we do have a dual lighting system, the rear must be switched on and off manually, whereas the front is wired in and controlled via the control module on the handlebar, making things even more convenient. It's relatively bright enough to not only offer some light while riding through darker environments, but also so that other road users can see you too. All in all then, this is a really nice design that fits in well, whether it's for road commuting or some lighter off-road trail riding. So it all comes down to the performance of that electronic system. And I'm pleased to say so far that performance is rather impressive too. The Hitway is a heavy bike at 27 kilos, but on the road it actually feels okay, and the motor is powerful enough to move all that weight with relative ease. You can reach top speeds quite easily, and dare I say it, with a little de-restricting I'm sure you could go even faster. Not that I would encourage that sort of thing of course. The handling is predictable, and the bike tracks well enough through higher speed twists and turns. At lower speeds I didn't have any problems manoeuvring the bike through obstacles either, and at those higher speeds it does feel solid and reliable, with good stopping power always there when you need it. Going uphill is nice and easy too. Of course you'd struggle a little up really steeper slopes, but throughout a general commute it's really no bother at all. The motor system doesn't break a sweat, and the display readout is bright, clear and informative. Comfort levels are also on par with what I'd expect from such a setup. Thanks to a height adjustable handlebar and plenty of adjustment in the seat post, I found the Hitway reasonably comfortable to adjust for my height and ride. That adjustability, coupled with the dual suspension, all come together to provide a really nice riding experience. Saying that, the front suspension fork does its job well on smaller potholes. Similarly, the suspension seat post works okay on smoother road surfaces, but does bounce you up and down a bit on bumpier country lanes. Not a deal breaker, and nothing that's out of the ordinary in comparison to a standard dual suspension setup of this nature. So, looking at the Hitway BK15 purely as a means of getting from A to B, it's hard to criticise, especially considering the budget level price tag. As a daily workhorse, it functions perfectly well. Yes, it's heavy. The ride can be harsh on certain terrain, and it does struggle on the more steeper hills, but you can overlook all these things if you want simple, cheap transport, and at least throughout my testing, it's performed this task reliably well. All in all then, as a starter bike or even as a mid-range commuter with puncture-resistant 29-inch tyres, 27 kilo aluminum alloy frame, which is lightweight compared to some of the competition, and that Shimano 7-speed gear system, this e-bike adapts to multiple terrains. It's a great all-rounder. Thoughtful details such as front and rear lights, adjustable mudguards and ergonomic design make every ride safer and more enjoyable. And with that added assist being there as and when I need it, if you're after an e-bike on a budget, the Hitway BK15 Plus is certainly one to consider.